I just came back from Top Gun Maverick, and I have some thoughts about this movie. And I'm really happy to say it, that this movie blew almost all my expectations out of the water. I was really worried going into this movie that they were not going to be able to capture the heart and the essence that makes the first film so wonderful. And they decided to do it at the very beginning of the movie so they can get to the new things that they wanted to explore. And the new things that they do introduce us to allow for these characters that we do know and allow them to expand and grow based on where they were at the end of the first movie. Captain Mitchell is the same as he was in the first movie. He's still hot-headed. He still is way over his head sometimes, but he also has a right to feel that way. Not only that, but we get to catch up on what he's been doing, where he's been, and what he's really been going through for these last 30 years or so since we last saw him. There is so much love put into this movie, and that shows with the character of Maverick, that there is something for everyone, new watchers or returning watchers from the first movie. Like, you could go into this movie not knowing what happens in the first Top Gun and still understand it. Works as a standalone, and that is such a big point in its favor. It's also incredible how grounded this movie is. It feels real, like these characters could be real, and that is such an asset in its favor. The drama in this movie feels real, and it feels like it could happen because it does happen. This type of stuff does happen, and we can watch it unfold with our own eyes. One big point of this movie is Maverick coming to terms with Goose's death, and him to let go of the past in order to allow himself to become the person that he is meant to be. This movie has a lot to do with personal growth and allowing yourself to forgive yourself for things that happened in the past. And this film really hammers that home, and it's wonderful and lovely, and I'm very glad that it gave so much passion and love into the sequel as much as they did the first movie. One of the new characters that they made sure that they put a lot of time and effort and care into is that of Goose's son. I believe his name is Bradley in the movie, and his code name is Rooster, and he's the son of Goose, and that brings such real drama, and you can feel the weight in every scene that he and Tom Cruise are in. He's played by Miles Teller, and Miles Teller really does do a great job of playing this young soul who wants to live up to his father's footsteps, but also holds a resentment for what happened to his father. And not only that, but resentment towards Maverick for pulling his papers at the Naval Academy. He has real reasons to hate Maverick and what happened, and he's got valid reasons for holding a resentment towards Maverick for what's happened for him for the last 30 years or so. He has every right to feel that way, and their growth in this movie is so phenomenally well done. Another new character we have is Penny Benjamin, and she is a very big point in this movie as well. And she also does a lot to help Maverick grow and become a better version of himself. And she was only mentioned by name in the first movie, but now we actually see her for what she is in this movie, and she allows for not only a love interest, but also to kind of help propel and to keep Maverick on the ground almost, and to allow him to have something to kind of come back to. She's his anchor to be able to jump upon and to kind of guide him towards how he reacts later on in the movie to a lot of these really big situations that they end up going in. And because she helps him through this little mental block that he's got and to be able to push past what he did to Bradley at the Naval Academy and then push through onto the mission itself way later in the movie. She really is very essential to the plot. I think there's so much new characters that do so much for this movie that bring in a new element so that way it doesn't feel like it's just passing the torch to the new generation, but it's also giving Maverick a sort of conclusive story so that way when / if we get another Top Gun, then we have somewhere to bounce off of. But the story beats are incredible. The story is wonderful, but the characters really do bring the movie to a whole elevated level. The acting's well done. The writing's well done. There's just a couple lines that just don't really hit very well, but they're okay. They're very dispersed and not very noticeable. But the biggest draw for this movie is all the camera work, all the technical aspects that go into this movie. The cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. The practical effects are stunning. And when they do use CGI, they use it very minimally. And it's very, very nice. And it's almost seamless how they transition from CGI into practical, back to CGI, back to practical. It's a very, very well done mesh of the two. This movie, if you do not get anything else out of it, is gorgeous to look at. There is not one part of this movie that doesn't look good. Every scene, every shot is crafted with an artistic vision in mind, and you can tell that was the case with the final product of this movie. Every ounce of this film has such a love and passion to it, and you can tell that this was not rushed. This movie had time to allow itself to really think on where it wanted to go with each individual character, how they go from here, and it's beautiful. It's a stand-up sequel. It's a great standalone movie. There's no reason not to watch it. I'll do a whole spoiler review with every last plot detail in a fully edited, fully made video. But for right now, these are my thoughts. This is where I wanted to be. If you haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, please go see it. You won't be disappointed. And like I said, at the end of the day, even if you don't like the writing, if you don't like the story, if you don't like the characters, at the very least, it really does look pretty. But that's up to you guys to decide, and I want to know your thoughts. Have you seen this movie? Do you plan on seeing it? Hell, did you even watch the first one? Let me know in the comments below. Please make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe so that way other people can see this video, so that we can get more reviews like this. My name is Kookierot, and I will catch you all later.